talk about the movie specifically now and what has kind of galvanized me and excited me to talk about this issue. Um, like I said before, the movie is called Sound of Freedom. The reason why it's called Sound of Freedom is because the whole point of the movie is there's a man named Tim Ballard who is helping kids escape from sex trafficking. Tim Ballard, for me, is he's a bit of a legend. He lives in Utah. I live in Utah. And just like me, Tim Ballard served a mission. He's a member of the same church as me. And so growing up, I actually heard about this. I'm not sure exactly when the events of the movie took place, but it was sometime in my lifetime. And so I've heard a lot about this. And so seeing the movie and it being kind of dramatized really showed me the amazing work he did and reminded me of what I had heard growing up about what he did. On his mission, he learned Spanish, and so he was able to utilize that a lot. All of the work that he did for Operation Underground Railroad was done in Latin American countries, at least at first. They may have expanded to other countries. But the story centralizes essentially around a brother and sister. I want to talk about the movie specifically and give kind of my review of it. The story, and I'm not going to spoil it too much. It is based on a true story. I want to do more research to see kind of what was more dramatized and what was real, but there are some instances that I've read a lot about and actually knew about before I saw the movie. And so I know that those things are legit. And they actually do have real footage of some of the things that went down. But in any case, the story essentially revolves around a brother and a sister. And these brother and sister are with their father, and a woman shows up to their house and says, hey, they live in Honduras, which, if you don't know, Honduras is one of the most dangerous Latin American countries out there. A woman comes to their house. She says, you've got beautiful children. I am an agent, essentially a modeling agent. I would love to help them get their start, help them make some money. So his father kind of reluctantly, or their father reluctantly lets them go. And he goes to pick them up at night, and they're gone. And they've been taken. And very quickly, the brother and the sister get separated. And Tim Ballard, essentially in the story, comes across a pedophile that he busts and decides that he realizes, because he works for Homeland Security already, but he realizes he keeps busting the pedophiles and he's not actually finding the children. And so he decides to use a pedophile that he's busted in order to get children to come to the US. And he ends up saving the son of this father. And through basically the plot of the movie is that he picks up clues from this boy to find his sister and return them to his father. One of the best parts of the movie is that he, and this is a true story, this is the part that I knew about, that I love about Tim Ballard, is that he decides to fly to Colombia one day, and he essentially creates a team. He meets a billionaire and creates a team where they're going to make a fake sex island, essentially similar to what Jeffrey Epstein did. And they make a fake sex island, and they get everything going, and they say, hey, we're going to have a kickoff event, and we want 60 kids here to entertain people. And so he sets this up, and in coordination with the Colombian military, the military show up, they bust all the pedophiles there, and they save about 60 kids. And it's a riveting scene in the movie. It's an incredible story. And it keeps going. In that, he was hoping that in that group would be the sister of this boy, but she's not there. And so he ends up actually having to go into rebel territory in Colombia and find her in kind of this warlord's base. And it's just an incredibly suspenseful movie, a great watch. I really want everyone to be able to see it. And so I encourage everyone to look it up, and I'll talk more about that at the end. The person who stars in the movie is Jim Caviezel. If you're not sure who that is, he starred as Edmond Dantes in The Count of Monte Cristo. He was also Christ in The Passion of the Christ. And so he's involved in a lot of these Christian kind of powerful messages. And he just has a spectacular performance in this movie. I mean, he was a big name actor and he did great, but I can't tell you how many smaller actors, just the kids in the movie, some of the pedophiles in the movie, some of the law enforcement in Colombia that were helping to get the kids out. These actors were so good and so compelling. This was a top tier movie, and my understanding is that the budget was fairly low. This story has to be told in order to secure the southern border. This is why I'm so passionate about it. Unfortunately, the southern border, there's a lot of people on the left that want people who are seeking asylum to come across. And that desire is very normal, and I share that desire. I saw the quality of life improve for the people that I taught on my mission. I saw that their love for the United States and wanting to come here and start a family. But the reality is that keeping an open border is the wrong way to do this. It is promoting sex trafficking. We cannot continue to keep the border open. It is hurting kids. You hear very commonly on the left, you hear of how Trump locked kids up in cages. Obama did it too, by the way. The problem with this narrative is that there was a policy in this country that when families came across the border illegally, that they needed to be separated. And they were separated to make sure and verify that this really was the kids' parents. I'm not saying this wasn't a scary experience for the kids, but it is absolutely necessary. When people are apprehended at the border, the kids and the parents must be separated. It is the only way to verify that this is not a predator trying to traffic these kids across the border. And unfortunately, Democrats and liberals have been trying to use this to upset independents and moderates who don't understand this issue as well and turn them against what is common sense immigration policy. We have got to protect the kids. I do want to say at the end, to close out this podcast, for those of you who are interested in watching this movie, I want you to comment down below. I want you to subscribe. If you subscribe and comment down below and say the words, "I want to watch it," I will reach out to you and we will coordinate if there's a theater. So unfortunately, right now it is in limited showing. I'm not sure exactly where it's showing. I know for a fact if you're in Utah, then you can see it. In other places, I'll have to look into if you can see it. But if you comment below, "I want to see it," I will reach out and I will make sure that you can get a free ticket for you and anyone else that wants to go see the movie. Either I will reach out to Operation Underground Railroad and make sure that they can pay for it, or I will pay for it myself. This is a story that needs to be told. I am passionate about it, and I don't want anyone to not be able to see it just because of where they live or finances. So please reach out if you're interested in seeing it. I would love to get you hooked up with that so that you can feel that same passion and emotion that I felt last night when I saw it.